Okay, let's dive into this, a terrifying explainer of a dark tale of karmic justice. Today, we're stepping away from the usual and we're exploring a story drawn directly from our source material that exposes the absolute terrifying reach of a guilty conscience. Seriously, get ready because this is an exploration of supernatural dread that's going to stick with you long, long after we're done here.
I won't even give you a thrown-away mango seed. Just let the absolute venom of those words sink in for a second. Before we even meet him, before we know his name or what he looks like, we know exactly who our antagonist is just from this single incredibly cruel sentence. This is the Sahukar. He's a wealthy, completely ruthless landlord, and his vast mango orchards, they aren't just a way to make money. They are an empire of absolute terrifying control over the entire village.
To really understand the terror haunting this orchard, we first kind of have to experience it through the ears of Haria, the property's night watchman. The source lays out this absolutely brilliant sequence of auditory horror. Imagine being completely alone out there in the pitch black. Step 1, you hear the sudden, sharp crunching of dry leaves just nearby. Step 2, you swing your flashlight around, right? But you only catch a shadow darting behind these massive, ancient mango trees. You chase it breathless. Your heart is literally pounding out of your chest until you reach the edge of the property. And then, step 3, a heavy, echoing splash from the dark depths of the estate's deep stone well.
So Haria rushes over, shining his flashlight straight down into the abyss, fully expecting to see some drowning thief thrashing around in the water. But the dark water was completely still. No ripples, no struggle at all, just this impossible, suffocating silence. It defies all logic. I mean, he heard the splash with his own ears, yet the surface is like glass. And in that frozen moment of profound confusion and just creeping dread, before he can even process the impossibility of it all, an unseen, icy force violently shoves Haria right from behind, sending him plummeting into the suffocating darkness below.
Now, miraculously, Haria actually survives the fall and manages to escape, and this comparison perfectly sets up the dynamic of our tale. Haria's reaction is just absolute terror. He shows up the very next morning, refuses another night's pay, and quits immediately, thanking the heavens he even got out with his life. But the Sahukar's reaction? Pure, blinding arrogance. He completely dismisses the supernatural, accuses Haria of being drunk on the job, and even physically threatens his own wife when she suggests bringing in a priest to cleanse the property. The Sahukar's hubris is just absolute. He truly, genuinely believes he's untouchable. The source material doesn't just tell us the Sahukar is a bad man, it shows us through visceral, totally unprovoked violence. He rides out to his highly profitable orchards in the blazing afternoon sun. Some local village women, including a woman named Lajwanti, happen to be walking by. Well, a stray dog wanders into the orchard and starts eating a rotting, fallen mango right off the dirt. Without even a second thought, the Sahukar raises his hunting rifle and shoots the innocent dog dead right in front of them. He doesn't do it to protect his crop. He does it solely to assert absolute dominance. And as the dog writhes on the ground and the women stand there paralyzed in terror, he just throws his head back and laughs maniacally at them. It's chilling. But why? Why target this specific group of women? Why zero in on Lajwanti with his gruesome display? See, this wasn't random cruelty. Why was the orchard truly cursed? It's not because of some faceless ghoul or a random woodland spirit. Lowering our gaze into the past of this story, we uncover a much darker, much more intimate historical injustice. You see, the ghost haunting those mango trees was born of an agonizing, unspeakable tragedy. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it pulls us into a horrific flashback. Lajiwanti, the very woman forced to watch that dog die, had a 7-year-old son, just a little boy. One day, he wandered into the orchard and took a single stolen mango. The Sahukar caught him. But instead of just scolding the child, the landlord unleashed a merciless, brutal beating with a heavy wooden staff. He literally beat a 7-year-old boy simply for daring to touch what the Sahukar claimed as his own. Lajwanti, his poor mother, rushed to the scene, sobbing, begging on her knees for her child's life. But she was physically held back by the Sahukar's guards. She was forced to watch, completely helpless, as the landlord literally beat her young son to death. And when it was all over, discarding the child like garbage, the Sahukar had that small, broken body thrown directly into the very same deep stone well we saw earlier in the explainer. It's just horrifying. And the Sahukar's absolute lack of remorse here is staggering. The very next day, as the child's body is pulled from the water, the Sahukar walks right up to the grieving, shattered mother
He doesn't apologize. No, he leans in and whispers this brutal threat right into her ear. If you open your mouth to the police, your husband's corpse will be found in this same well. The Sahukar built his empire not just on mangoes, but on the silenced grief of the people he crushed beneath him. He really thought his power made him forever immune to consequences.
Which brings us to the terrifying force driving this entire story: karmic retribution. Because the universe demands balance, right? It's the inevitable punishment for evil, and it often manifests in a way that perfectly mirrors the original sin. The blood spilled in that orchard soaked deep into the soil, and now our explainer shifts to its terrifying climax. The universe is about to force the Sahukar to pay for his sins in a deeply, beautifully ironic way. Let's move to and see how this builds. It's late at night. The Sahukar is suddenly woken up by Harya, who is frantically reporting that there are thieves on the property. As they ride out at midnight, a dog howls at the sky. An owl screams. Literally, nature itself is signaling doom. By 12:30 a.m., they're deep in the pitch-black orchard hunting this supposed thief. And then, at 1 a.m., the Sahukar hears it, a loud splash in the well. But as he approaches the still water, a voice echoes up from the depths. It repeats the Sahukar's own cruel words about the mango seeds, word for word, echoing back at him from the darkness. The Sahukar stumbles backward in absolute shock. He looks around, calling out for his guard to help him. But then, a figure steps out from the shadows, a figure draped entirely in a dark blanket. The figure taunts him, saying, "I let Harya live so he could bring you here." And the Sahukar realizes, with a jolt of pure ice running through his veins, the Harya who woke him up, the Harya who rode with him on the motorcycle, the Harya standing beside him in the dark, wasn't human. The real Harya had actually quit his job 4 days ago. The Sahukar had been escorted to his own execution by a supernatural illusion. Pure animal panic sets in. The Sahukar turns and runs for his life. But the orchard he planted, the orchard he knows like the back of his hand, has morphed into this living nightmare. He's utterly disoriented, trapped in a suffocating maze of mango trees. He sprints in one direction, only to find the trees parting to spit him right back out at the edge of the cursed well. He's exhausted, his heart is pounding in his chest, his throat is burning with thirst, and he hears his own maniacal laughter echoing in the darkness all around him. Desperate, he drops to his knees and reaches out in the dirt for his dropped rifle, just trying to defend himself. But he doesn't grab a rifle. He grabs a venomous black snake instead. In the pitch black, cold scales wrap around his fingers, and it strikes him right in the face. A truly terrifying fact about many Indian snakes, like the crate, their neurotoxic venom doesn't just cause pain. It induces rapid, suffocating paralysis. So within seconds, an agonizing, completely uncontrollable, burning thirst spreads rapidly through his throat and chest. And this brilliantly illustrates the horrific poetry of karmic justice. As the Sahukar lays there paralyzed in the dirt, struggling for every breath, his vision starts to blur. But through the haze, he sees a figure sitting casually on the edge of the stone well. It's the 7-year-old boy he beat to death. The murdered child looks down at the dying, desperate man and gleefully taunts him. "You are the owner of the well. Drink the water. Drink as much as you want." The number 2. That is the agonizing distance of his failure. The Sahukar's body is completely failing him at this point. Foam is pouring from his mouth. His mind is consumed by one single desperate desire: water. Just one single drop of water to soothe the venomous fire in his veins. He uses the very last ounce of his strength to literally drag his paralyzed body through the dirt toward the well. But the venom stops his heart. The wealthy, powerful landlord collapses and dies of agonizing thirst, exactly 2 steps away from the edge of his own overflowing well. So the crucial point is, the Sahukar thought his wealth and power made him untouchable. He really believed he could bury his sins at the bottom of a well and just simply walk away. But the universe remembers. The owner of the well died thirsty and alone. What debts from your past are still waiting in the dark to collect? It's a haunting thought to leave you with, isn't it? Actions have echoes, and sometimes those echoes wait patiently in the dark, gathering strength, ready to call in what they are owed. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.